Hello, everybody. Let me know if my sound is working okay. I want to make sure that's good to go. We're here to do a little lunch and learn together to make sure everything's good. I have a little bit of a cold today, so hopefully the sound is coming through good and I don't have to fight with the microphone. Oh my gosh, last two tissues. That's not good. Awesome. Sound is good. Fantastic. Hi, everybody. How are you? Clearly, I'm fighting a cold. I got back from Disney really late on Sunday night, and I woke up Monday with a cold, which is never any fun, right? I thought maybe it was just from, screaming on the rides out of excitement, but that is clearly not what's going on. Something is happening in here, but that's all right. I'm here today to teach some Tunisian crochet, you guys. Now, if you have been following me at all, you probably know I don't do Tunisian very much. So much so that my business partner, Robin, who is quite literally a Tunisian expert, was teaching me everything I need to know how to do Tunisian. The good thing is I completely understand entrelac. I have designed a lot of entrelac items, both for single crochet entrelac and knitting entrelac. I even wrote an entrelac book. If you are watching on YouTube, I've put a link to this book. You can get it on Kindle, on Amazon. I put a link in the video description box, but I understand how entrelac works. So at least that's half the battle. I understand the increases, the decreases, and the sheer function of entrelac. I just wasn't sure how to do the Tunisian. So yay for Robin teaching me how to do what I need to teach all of you today. And I will say it's fairly easy. It's not too difficult. It does take a little bit of time, and we can do this. And so you guys, these are my very first ever Tunisian stitches. Very first ever Tunisian stitches. Look at that. So if I can do this, I know you guys can too. So hi, everybody. We've got a lot of people joining us today. Hi, Lexi and Anna and Viv C. And hi, Julia. You were just over watching the poncho with me. I had to leave the live poncho release to come over here. Hi, Deborah and Anna and Jody. This is phenomenal. I hope it's really as good as you think it's going to be. Hi, Esther. And Terry, thank you for letting me know about the sound. Oh my gosh, guys, there are so many of you here. Hi, it is so nice to have you joining me. I love doing these lunch and learns. They're always delightful, and we're going to kind of tackle this together. So let's see if we can get the camera to work today and make sure everything works. So I'm going to switch to my hands. Ba-ba. All right, is the sound still there? Let me know. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know if the sound is still here. Want to make sure. All right. So it sounds like everything is good. At least it says it is. Okay, everybody. This is Tunisian Entrelac. And here's what's really cool is what Red Heart has done here is they have, oh my gosh, anybody else get like these little fruit flies? And I just can never get rid of them. Anyways, what Red Heart has done here is they have put together an awesome kit that you can get that has really the exact amount of super saver that you need in all of the colors that's used on this pattern. Because this pattern, you guys, it is actually a very colorful pattern. I didn't print it off in color work. Excuse me. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry. I didn't print it off in all the color, but you can see here, it's a very, very colorful entrelac blanket. And so if you look at that, you're like, wow, that's a whole lot of colors to buy. Even if you're going to the store to get Super Saver, you could go get all of these colors in Super Saver and make several blankets, right? You'd have enough yarn to make several blankets. But what's really awesome is Red Heart has put together some really great kits. And I have one here that is actually similar to the one that they talked about. This is the Super Stitcher kit, okay? So this is the Super Stitcher kit. The one that they used in the actual blanket is the Super Craft kit. Similar projects. This one just has a knitting, crochet, and like this sort of weaving piece. But what you can see here, I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you see these little like mini skeins of Super Saver? So even up here at the top, you can see all the different colors, and then here on the side, and then they're all in there. All the colors that you would use in this blanket are all into this kit, and it's just a little bit more than $25. So instead of spending even, let's just say it's like $3 or $4 on each skein of yarn, you get exactly what you need in a kit like this, so you have a really great baby blanket. And if you guys don't know, I love rainbow. I love rainbow. So the fact that this has all the colors of the rainbow is exciting. Also, say that you got one of these and maybe you ran out and you needed to get another pink. Say you need another pink. And you're like, oh, I don't want to buy a whole nother kit to just get a little bit of that pink. All right. I'm not saying you're going to run out. I'm just giving an example. The great thing here is all of these colors are not like additional colors to Red Heart Super Saver. These are the actual Red Heart Super Saver colors. So this is real Red Heart Super Saver. So if this pink color you run out and you need to go get some more, you could go buy a full skein of that pink or the red or the orange or the yellow, whatever it is. So these are actual colors used in Red Heart Super Saver. So this is really awesome. It comes with a great little bag. This one in particular has knitting needles, has a crochet hook, a stitch counter, a tape measure. I mean, not bad. If you're looking for a stocking stuffer this Christmas, this is good. This is a really good gift, especially for a lot of the Gen Z and millennials who are really getting into crochet. This has a lot of beginner patterns already in it that you could check out, and it just has everything they need all in one cute little kit. Like, this is a great kit. You can get this kit at Red Heart at yarnspirations.com. Thank you. Yarnspirations just put a link in the Facebook post. I will try and copy it and put it. Let's see, I'm going to just pop it up there so you guys can see it if you want. I'll get it into the YouTube page also. But this is what you would use. Okay, so this one is the Stitcher kit. The Super Craft kit, I'm not really sure what's the difference between the two, but it's the same colors, I'm assuming, to make this Entrelac blanket. So that's the first thing. I want to make sure that you're not like, excuse me, looking at this like, wow, that's a whole lot of colors. I don't want to buy that much yarn. Well, you don't. I mean, it's you get the kit, it's really not that much yarn, and it's not too hard. Now, I am going to be using a Tunisian hook today, but I will let you know, if you have a hook that has maybe this didn't have this on here and it just had this. If you have a nice long shaft on your hook, you could get by with just a regular crochet hook for this technique today. So you don't need you don't need a Tunisian hook for this, but we're going to use Tunisian techniques. Okay. All right. So let's see here. This is Entrelac. So Entrelac is meant to look like woven fabric through one and another. Now, typically, if you look at knit Entrelac, I just happen to have some over here. You can see that it really looks like woven fabric. You can see the stitches go this way. It looks like they're underneath these and they come back out over here and they're underneath those. And these go this way, right? It's this way and this way. The Tunisian pattern that we're going with, all the bars happen to run the same direction. So it doesn't give quite the same woven look. So I want to just point that out. So this is a difference between like a knitted Entrelac and the Tunisian for this particular pattern. But the whole idea here is that you're working stitches on the bias. So we have to increase stitches over here to get this triangular wedge. And then we maintain a square to fill in this gap right here, okay, to fill in that gap. And then over here to get this triangular wedge, we have to work decreases to create this, because we'll pick up stitches here and work decreases. So all of our fabric is on the bias. And that's the same rule, so to speak, of all the entrelac technique is the fabric is done on the bias, which makes it super stretchy and it gives a really great, beautiful fabric. Now, you can mess around with color work when you're doing any sort of an entrelac project. On this one here, you can see this is actually, I'm so sorry, I keep coughing, you guys. I'm going to lift this up. This was a pattern I had in a magazine years ago. But you can see that I created a chevron look just based with the different colors and how I used them. I didn't change colors every tier that I worked. I actually had a chart that I worked along, or that I drew up so that way we could have this really beautiful chevron look. But the point here is that you can really play around with entrelac technique. Once you understand it, you can mess around with colors. So if we understand what we're doing here today, you can expand this out and do a bunch of different things. Here's another knitted entrelac example. And this one here, what you'll notice is it does not have any of the triangular wedges. You see, so that means our ends are kind of pointy. Can you see that? I didn't fill in any of the triangular wedges, which means there's full squares as it goes across. So could you do this in Tunisian? Could you do this in single crochet entrelac? Yeah, you absolutely could. So my point here is that there's a whole nother version of entrelac that you could do with stitches like this. And this is Red Heart Unforgettable yarn. This one is, and this is a really old yarn from Red Heart. It was called Stitch Nation. And it was a washable U, so it's a washable wool by Stitch Nation. So it's a really old Red Heart yarn, but they make beautiful, beautiful items. And the fun thing about entrelac, you'll notice this as we go, you're working with so few stitches as you go along that it really keeps your interest and you just keep moving along, and it's just very exciting. And like I did mention, I did write a book called I Can't Believe I'm Entrelac Knitting. So if you're interested, this is an old Red Heart boutique yarn, but there's a bunch of different yarns you could do. This pattern too, you can get that on yarnspirations.com. But there's a lot of different patterns and skills in here you can see if you're interested in expanding on entrelac. Also, I do have patterns that use single crochet entrelac, not Tunisian, but single crochet entrelac. I've put links to those on the YouTube video here. And if you look in the video description, I've put some links to some single crochet entrelac patterns. And I do have videos for those. And there's also some of those patterns are available for free at yarnspirations.com because I love entrelac. So that's the start of all this. I want to make sure you know that this is a technique. The entrelac technique can be used in knitting. It can be used in just regular crochet, and it can be used in Tunisian. So what we're going to do here, we're going to start off. It actually goes this way. We're going to start off and we will chain 23. The stitch multiple of this is 10 plus 13. So for every square we have wider, like each one of these is 10. And then to account for the two wedges at the ends, it's 13. So we're going to chain 23 and make our little swatch here to start with. And we're going to try and get through as much as I possibly can here. And I'm going to try and remember everything that Robin said to me. And the first thing I want to mention is that she, as she was looking through the pattern to help me make sure that I gave you the best of instructions, when you're looking at this pattern, a lot of you will look at these like illustrations here and be like, oh, those are great. I'm going to use those. Here's the thing. This illustration is actually for that. And this illustration is actually for that. Okay. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that for this pattern, we do not even use this one. So you won't need it. For this pattern, we don't do this one either. So you won't need it. So I don't want you to look at those at all for this pattern. Okay. We will use this. All right. So that's the first thing I want to point out. Okay. So the illustrations here are switched up, but we don't even use these in the way that the instructions are written in this pattern. And you're going to see what I mean here in just a second. Okay. The other thing I want to point out is it does include a stitch diagram, which I freaking love. I love it so much. this stitch diagram is larger than what we're doing in our little swatch, obviously, but you could use this as well. You just, as long as you understand what the stitches, the symbols mean, you can absolutely use this and kind of get your bearings of what's going on. So what's going to happen here, you guys, they call it a first strip. I call it a tier. Okay, whenever I talk about entrelac, I call these like, this is my first tier or my setup tier. This would be my second tier, my third tier, and so on and so forth. It's not that they're wrong. I just know that I'm going to say tier and I want you to know what I'm talking about. And then what you need to basically understand here, whenever you do entrelac, is essentially just go with blind faith of what the instructions tell you to do. Don't take the knowledge that you have accumulated over the years, whether it's with crochet or Tunisian or knitting, and try and apply it to an entrelac pattern. It's really one of those types of techniques that you just have to trust what the pattern's telling you to do. Because once you do it, you'll be like, oh, I understand. But if you try and overthink it, it's a tricky thing. A lot of people mess up. So much so that over the years of me teaching entrelac at various events around the world, I have found that the more beginner the crocheter, more beginner the knitter, they pick up entrelac faster than experienced knitters or crocheters, because they don't have, beginners don't have that basis of knowledge to come in with. They're simply just following the instructions, which is what they have to do. So they have blind faith, right? Where experienced knitters and crocheters come in, they're like, well, why would I ever do that? You would never put a hook there. You would never do this. And the thing is, you just have to do it. So I want to just give you a heads up, just blind faith, everybody, blind faith. All right. All right. So what we're going to do on this pattern, we will start off right here with a single crochet in our second chain from hook. And then we'll begin building our wedge. And what will happen is we're never going to turn our work, because you do 2 passes in Tunisian. So we will pick up a stitch here, pick up a stitch here, and then work our way back. Pick up a stitch here, stitch here, stitch here, work our way back. And so it will kind of be like this. Okay, this is how our work is going to go. We're going to go in this bias. And then we work these slip stitches all the way down back here to the beginning. And then we will then work this all again. We start to do, we will pick up stitches here. This one, we're not doing a wedge. This one will go down, and to make it so that we can connect to this square to this side, sort of like a join as you go, we work a decrease. Okay. So you'll pick up an extra stitch over here and we'll work a decrease and come back, and then come back, work a decrease, come back, come down, work a decrease, come back, come down, work a decrease, come back, come down, work a decrease, come back. That decrease is literally just joining this square that we're creating to that edge of the fabric. Now, because this edge of the fabric is just a chain at this point in time, it won't look like much. But as you do that up here into these rows, it's going to join this square here that we are building off of here to that edge of the fabric. So it'll make more sense. So this is the direction you go. So this is how you would read the chart. You read it in this sort of way. When we get down here to the end, you'll see we come down here. We don't have any fabric over here to do a decrease to join to, right? So we begin to join or do our decrease right here to create this edge to get our wedge, right? This is our decrease, get our wedge. Get a wedge, get a wedge. And then we start and we come back the opposite way. All right. So I think it's important to understand how you would read this chart, because it's not just back and forth like this. You go like this, right? You go like that. Okay. Clear as mud. I really find that when I'm doing something like this, just dive in and get to it. So that's what we're going to do. The link to this free pattern is in your video description box. I know that Renee has also added it to the comments. So if you need to get anything there, grab this. I'm going to set this aside so it's not in frame and messing up any of my view. And I'm going to try it with this hook to start with. If I need to change hooks, I will, but we're going to give this a try. All right. So we're going to chain 23 to start. So just do a chain just like you normally would do any other crochet chain. Can you guys see well enough? I'm hoping you can. I got to blow my nose real quick, guys. Sorry. That is so not sexy. I'm so sorry. It's not good. But you don't want it dripping down, right? Okay. Get that stupid gnat. Oh, hold on. My hand's clean. Oh, yucky. Okay. 23. So let's chain 23. Now I want you to know, you might be like, wow, that's a very, very big hook that you're using for, you know, a super saver yarn. Well, when you do Tunisian, you typically want to go up a hook size about 2 times bigger than what you would normally use for whatever yarn you're using. And that's pretty standard. So we're just going to chain here. And we do want to make sure that we are not, you know, tightening up our chains. We want to make sure that they are the same size as our hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Okay. We're going to put a single crochet in the second chain from hook. Now, the pattern does not tell you to do this, but Robin did recommend that we work our stitches into that back bump or the butt of the stitch. The reason she suggested it is because this blanket doesn't have any finishing. And so if we do that, that'll make the edge of the blanket this really nice V. And so it's just thinking ahead of like for better finishing on your actual blanket if you want to. So I'm going to go into the butt of the stitch here, stick my hook in, and make sure I don't split my yarn. And I will be going slow here, guys, because I'm still not used to all this. And we're going to create just a basic single crochet. Okay. Now, we're going to work an increase. All right, this is where we're going to increase our stitches so that way we can get our wedge. So the first thing we're going to do, if you see this V right here, we're going to go into this first leg of the V, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's our increase. Then we're going to go to the next chain, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. Okay. We yarn over and draw through 2. Okay, yarn over and draw through 2. I know on typical Tunisian, you would yarn over, draw through 1, and then through 2, through 2, through 2. You want to draw through 2 because that what we're doing right there, we're creating a decrease here for our join. It sounds really confusing. Rather than thinking through it, again, trust the process. So you're going to yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. You're going to do this throughout the whole pattern. Okay, that's why those charts here or these here, that's why they aren't going to work for this pattern because they show yarning over and drawing through 1 and we're not doing that at all on this. You're going to yarn over, draw through 2. Okay, so that's the first one. Second one, we're going to go through that loop right there again. So it's like the V behind the loop on your hook. We're going to go through the front leg, yarn over, pull up a loop. And then you see that bar right there? Can you guys see that bar? We're going to go into that bar, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now we have to connect to the chain. So you go to the next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, draw through 2. This is our return pass. Yarn over, draw through 2. Yarn over, draw through 2. Okay. We're going to do this until we have done this 5 times, I think. All right. Okay. So I'm going to go into that side, yarn over, pull up a loop. Oop, don't pull through 2. All right, let me start over. Okay, right here, yarn over, pull up a loop. Then we're going to go to the bar right here. We have 2 bars this time. So we yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull up a loop. Go to the next one. Yarn over, draw through 2. Yarn over, draw through 2. yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. Okay, do it again. Go into that first bar, go to the next one. Each time we go through a pass, you're picking up one extra bar, and then you have to pick up one extra chain. Yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. Get more yarn here. Yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. Okay, here we go. Oops. And it is going to curl on you guys. Like, it's just the nature of Tunisian. So I want to make sure you know you're not doing anything wrong as it curls on you. In 5. So I think that's all of mine. Okay, I'm just going to look over here. Let's go through. First row, we did a single crochet in the second chain from hook, and we did not turn. And then our forward pass, we picked up on that side bar, we drew up a loop, and then we pulled one up from the drop a loop for the next chain. 3 loops on your hook, do not turn. And then our return pass was yarn over, draw through 2 loops. Remember, that's what I said to you. And then you would do that twice. So you have 1 loop left on your hook, and then you would do it again. You pick up on the side, and then you would pick up in the bar of the next 2 stitches, and then draw up a loop in the next chain. So that would give you 1, 2, 3, 4 loops on your hook, right? And then on your return pass, you would yarn over and draw through your hook 3 times as you go through 2, blah, blah, blah. So you work all the way through here, okay? Just to make sure. One thing you can do, let me grab something to point here. As you're looking at this, if you count your stitches across, so we have 1, 2, 3. Let's see, this was our single. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 stitches. There's 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar, 4 bar, 5 bar, and then this is the top. Okay. And so when I'm coming and looking at this one, I think I've done all of them. I just want to make sure. I might have be short one. So see, 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar. Oh, I'm counting wrong. One, 2, 3, 4. I think I need 1 more, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I have 5 there. 2, 3, 4. Did I miss it? Did I miss an increase, y'all? I did that before. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's the side. Did I miss an increase? I've done this before. I think I missed one right here. I'm going to go back there and do it. So if you mess up, if you don't have the right stitch count, just rip it out and go back. It's very common to accidentally miss an increase at the start. I've done this before too. So, I mean, I've missed an increase before. So don't think you're doing anything bad. It's just, you just got to go through and pull it through. Right? Okay. So make sure all that was on there. So it was yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. So I come into this first one, yarn over, pull up a loop, insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. The next, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, 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 yarn over, draw through 2. So I did that 5 times, right? So pull up a loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that all of them? Yep. And then down here. Six. So I did that 6 times. So now I'm on the 7th row and I'm going to slip stitch loosely down each of the 5 single vertical bars. So I want to make sure I have 5 vertical bars here. That's why I ripped out, because I was like, I didn't count 5. I had messed up somewhere. It's fine. You know, it happens. So I have a vertical bar there, 2, 3, 4, 5. As I'm working back down this way, I am not going to work over here at this side edge. You know how all along here we worked at that first bar right there on the side edge? That was our increase. We will not work in those again. We only do it when we're over here on this side. Okay. So what we're going to do now is, because we want our next square to start down here, we're going to slip stitch our way all the way down to there. I got to blow my nose again. Sorry, guys. Okay, I apologize. All right, so we're sticking with the same color. I'm not turning, okay? Again, I am not going to work through that edge stitch there, okay? I'm not going to. I'm going to ignore it. I'm just going to go into the bars here, and I'm slip stitching, literally just like you normally would do a slip stitch. Okay, it's almost like you're binding off this triangle of stitches. We're just going into each one of these. Make sure you don't do them too tight. And then when you get through all 5 of those, in the same chain that you worked that last stitch in, go into that and slip stitch into that. Okay? All right, here we are. We're ready for our square. So this is the square. We're going to draw up a loop in each of the next 6 chains, okay? So we're going to come in here, go into each of the next 6 chains, yarn over, pull up a loop. Again, work through the butt of them. I call it the butt of the stitch. You guys call it the back of the stitch, whatever. But to me, like, it's the butt of the stitch. I've literally always called it that for as long as I can remember. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we want 7 loops on our hook, because we had 1 loop to start with, right? And we wanted to pull up a loop in each of the 6 pieces. Okay. Now on the way back, so we have 7 loops on our hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to yarn over, draw through 2. That's our decrease. And then yarn over, draw through 2 all the way across. Okay. This next one, you're not going to go into that down there. Okay. Just like I told you before, you're not going to go into there. We're going to go into these bars here. Go to the first one, pull up a loop. The next one, pull up a loop. The next one, pull up a loop. The next one, pull up a loop. In this last one, here's a tip. You can just go into the bar here and pull up a loop, but you see that sort of like that loose little stitch right there? Just stick your hook into that too. So we'd stick it into both of those, yarn over and pull up. It's just going to clean that up a little bit. Okay. And then you're going to go into the next chain, into the butt of the chain, and pull up a loop there. All right. So you're back to 7 loops on your hook. yarn over, draw through 2. That's our decrease to create our shaping. And then we work our stitches all the way across. How we doing? All right, here we go. Working into these bars. Like I said, we're starting off each of these rows with that yarn over and draw through 2 to work that decrease, okay? And that is for this pattern. On other Tunisian patterns, you would yarn over and draw through 1. Now, on this one, see how I just pulled up through that bar? I didn't pick up that bit. You can do that if you want. I actually really like the way it looks when I pick up that little bit just to clean it up. It's just one of those little finishing things. I just like the way it looks. And then go into the next chain, 7 loops on our hook. And here we go. We want to do this so that we have 5 bars, okay? 5 bars across. Julia, I can't take credit for all of the tips. These are the tips that Robin gave me, which it's really great to learn from an expert. Because she is automatically thinking ahead of where we are to how to make things look better. Like I would have never thought about going into the butt of those chains, but she's like, hey, if they're not going to do a finishing, like an edging or anything, you want to make sure that it looks nice on the bottom. So let's do that. And I was like, well, that's a very good idea. So far I've only done 4 stitches across. I know that because as I count across, I count only four of the rows, right? So this would be my last one. Oops. Yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, 2, and 2. All right. So this is what we have so far. You guys see it? So what we're going to do now is we're going to slip stitch down these 5 bars again, and we'll slip stitch into that same stitch there. And then we're going to pick up stitches, 6 of them here in each of those 6 chains, and then we'll work our decreases. We don't have anything to join to over here, so our decreases will create that wedge. Okay, so here we go. Remember, you're still not going to work into that first bar there, right? Or I don't know what that's technically called. It's that first leg, or I think of it as that leg of the V behind the loop on your hook. You're going to work into that bar down here, right? There are so many different places you could put your hook. It's fascinating. Oh, I'm supposed to be slip stitching. I'm just not thinking. Okay. I did that before too. I'm supposed to be slip stitching and making sure these are nice and loose. One thing that is really helpful, because I've tried a couple different hooks doing this. If you have a hook with a very pointy tip, it actually really helps being able to get into those bars and such. Okay, here we go. We're going to pick up 6. All right, just like before, yarn over, draw through 2, 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 yarn over, draw through 2. Then we pick up. We'll have 1 less this time because we decreased, right? At the very start, we decreased. So instead of having 7 loops on our hook, we will have 6. Again, down here, you could pick up through that last bar and that edge, just kind of clean it up. So we have 6 loops on our hook, yarn over, draw through 2, that's our decrease. And then here is the finishing of our pass. And then we go back. This time we'll have 5 loops. Yarn over, draw through 2. That's our decrease. This last wedge goes really fast because you're decreasing each time. So we'll have 4 loops. There's our decrease. Put through 2 there. 2, 2. Once you get to the end, I do a chain to finish it off. So I do a chain, and then I'm going to cut my tail. And voila, we have our first bit done. How we feeling? How we feeling? Okay, the next section, I'm going to open this, turn this page here. So we did our last triangle. This says second strip. So this would be, to me, I'd call this a second tier. And what we're going to do in this one, we don't have to create triangles, right? Because we're just going to fill in these blank spaces with squares. So what we're going to do here is we're going to join our yarn, and we will work our stitches across. Oh my gosh, my nose. I'm sorry. Okay. So we're going to join our yarn up here. And what we'll do, we'll join up here with the slip stitch into the first triangle, right? And then we will, sorry. We'll draw up a loop in each of these stitches here, and we will join it over here with our decrease, and we'll create another square. Okay, so we're just creating another square. Oh my gosh, you guys, my head is just pounding. Just a second. It got blurry for a minute, like vertigo. You know what I mean? Do you know when your head is like all sinusy and you just kind of get that vertigo moment? Give me just a second. Give me just a second. Okay. I think I'm okay. I think I'm all right. All right. So we're gonna go with the orange this time. Why not? And I'm going to have my instructions right here, so I have them. I'm going to join with a slip stitch right there. All right, so joined with a slip stitch. With the right side facing, join color B with a slip stitch at the top corner of the first triangle of the previous strip or tier. Work through both loops of the slip stitches, draw up a loop in each of the next 5 slip stitches. So into the same one you joined into, right? Because that's a slip stitch. We're going to yarn over and pull up in each of the next 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I have one too many. Work with me here, guys. Join B with the slip stitch to the top corner of the first triangle. Does it mean in the top slip stitch? And then in the next 5 slip stitches. So what Robin said to me when I asked her this before, she said, look, even if it looks like you have more than 5, if it's telling you to do 5, just pick up 5. So if you need to skip one here or there, you could do that. So I'm going to just put one right here. I'm going to start there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to pick one up, the first one over here from this square, and that's going to be the one that we're joining. All right, so that's going to be our decrease, and that's what's going to join the square we're building to the square that was already built. So when we yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, 2, 2, and 2, we're built. Now, remember what I said, we only did our increases over here on this wedge, so we are not going to work through those stitches there. We're going to start with the bars here. So pull up a loop on each of these bars. Again, at that last one, if you kind of go through both, it helps. And then go to the next stitch over here on the square that's already finished. So you should have 7 bars. Yarn over, draw through 2. That's your joining decrease. Yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, and 2, and 2. And keep going. This one's the easy row. Lynn says she likes the idea of the Super Saver kit to start and then go from there. I agree. There's so many options of things you could do. And anytime there's a kit available that puts together the colors for you, I mean, that's super valuable. I love colors. If you guys don't know that, I love color work, like color work in crochet, color work in knitting, color work in Tunisian. It just really excites me. As you can tell probably from the knit along poncho that's going on right now, it's full of color work. It's full of color work. Let's see here. How am I doing on time? Oh, good. I'm going to keep going. You want to get to where you have all 5, and then we'll slip stitch down to get to the next square. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5. So now I will slip stitch down the edge of this. And it's like binding off that square, right? It's like binding off those stitches. And this last one. And then I want you to notice this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? It looks like 6. So in the pattern, it tells you to slip stitch into the same stitch as that last stitch there. This is my own little thing, and I'm actually bringing this over from when I do single crochet entrelac. I'm going to slip stitch into that first chain there. Okay. I'm going to slip stitch to that first chain because now I have 5 slip stitches to go and pull up. You see that? You see how it just makes it clean? It's one of those things. It's a little finishing thing. It's just going to make it look better, I think. So pulled up 5, pull up 1 from my triangle, and now start to work them off. So we're going to go through here and do this. I will say this becomes easier the more you do it. Like when I was making that first one, it was tricky. It took me a lot longer than what this one is taking me right now. And, I made mistakes just like what you guys would do. I mean, shoot, I made one right here as I forgot to do an increase at one point. That's a perfectly normal and natural thing that would happen. And you saw what I did. I just undid it and just redid that row and got to the right stitch count and move on. But like I was talking about, when you're doing entrelac, whether it's single crochet entrelac, Tunisian entrelac, knitting entrelac, you're only dealing with these few stitches at a time, right? We're just dealing with these essentially 5 stitches, an extra loop on our hook, and then the extra loop we have that is going to join. So we're just dealing with 5 stitches. And so it doesn't take a lot of like remembering how to do like a full stitch pattern all the way across a row or something. Like it's pretty easy. And because you're not turning your work every time, you could just keep it all on the right side. This is a really airplane friendly project. Even if you're doing entrelac knitting, I actually take my entrelac knitting on the plane. That is my plane project typically, because I can knit backwards, and so I don't have to turn my work, and I just know exactly where I am. I can work on these little tiers every time. I'm usually doing something in the round. It just makes it very easy to do. So as much as you might think to yourself, this is like a sit down and it's sort of like a smooth jazz sort of project. If you're on my website at all, you know what I mean. Honestly, this could be like a Netflix and chill project. And no, I'm not talking about the typical Netflix and chill. If you guys know, when I say Netflix and chill, when I'm talking about crafting, I'm literally talking about you could chill out with your project and watch a TV show, and work on a project like this. Like, it's not something that's going to take a whole lot of concentration once you get going. This could even be a social butterfly type project once you get going here, because once you really work past these few rows, you're going to be like, oh, this isn't so bad at all. I can totally see where I am. Okay, I want you to see this, because I made this mistake too on the last time. Notice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I just picked up stitches and I was like, oh, I have to do that because I have an extra chain over here, right? An extra, not chain, but an extra stitch. No, we want to leave that stitch there, because as we create our triangle for the next triangle, we actually need that stitch there to attach the next triangle to. So don't get stuck. Like, don't make this mistake that I just did where I'm like, oh, I have another one. It means I have another like pass to do. No, this would actually be your slip stitch pass, and then you'd finish it off. So I'm going to undo that. And it's going to look funny, but once you fill that in with your triangle at the edge there, you'll see what I mean. Like, you need that there for the triangle to attach to. So I'm just going to slip stitch all the way down here to finish this off. And I could slip stitch to this last one if I wanted to. I can get in through both of them without splitting yarn, geez. And then fasten off. And that's your second tier, or your second strip. How we doing? Hi, Monique. Hi, Monique. Okay, so on this one, the orange was my first, the pink was my second, the yellow was my last. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to have the pink be my last. What we're going to do now, we're going to come back over here where we joined right here. And the instructions, they want you to do a join into the same space where you did the first square of the strip here. They want you to join, and then they want you to chain one and do a single crochet there. Why don't we just do a standing single crochet there and eliminate that bulk? Like, there's a lot of bulk right there. I think we could do a standing single crochet and it would be good. So we're going to start off with the standing single crochet, and then we're going to create a triangle and try and get across here as quickly as we can. I want to get you started, so that way you can see how this works up. Renee, thank you so much for sticking around here. I want to make sure I try and get through this last pass here. So over here, they want us to join with a slip stitch right here where we joined with this orange color, but I'm going to just join with the standing single crochet. And if you don't know how to do that, just put a loop on your hook, go into that spot that they're talking about, yarn over, pull up a loop, and yarn over and draw through two. So now we have a standing single crochet. Okay. So now they want us to go through that first edge, right? And then we're going to begin to work down all these. So this would be our come up, draw through two, not three, two, and then two. So then we have our edge here. Yarn over, pull up one. And then we have our bar, yarn over, pull up one. And then the next one, yarn over, pull up one, two, two, and two. And so now we're back essentially like how we started, right? We're going to get to where we have 5 bars. So we're working across here. And this, what we're doing here when we pick up this stitch at the edge, like that one over here, we're working an increase. I did ask Robin, I was like, is that the way increases are typically done? She goes, it's one way to do an increase. There's lots of different ways to do increases, obviously, depending on how you want to make your projects. But she even talked about how if you wanted to go between the V's, you could pick up like the back of a bar, or the front of a bar. Like there's so many other options too. And I'm only mentioning that to say that as you expand on your Tunisian career or other projects, if you come across other ways to increase, there are other ways to increase, just like there's a lot of different ways to increase in knitting or crochet also, right? And then here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's my wedge. You see it? So then I'm going to slip stitch all the way down. I should have 5 slip stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. That was not the right spot. 4 and 5. And then again, I'm not going to slip stitch in that same, I'm going to slip stitch in the next chain or the next stitch. Right? And then we're going to work along here, pick up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then 1 over here from the next square and yarn over, draw through 2. I am using a Tunisian hook from a place called My Two Ladies Knitting. I don't have a lot of Tunisian hooks, and this feels really nice, and it's got a really nice long cord to, you know, if I wanted to have a longer project or whatever, but it feels great in my hands. But that's what I'm using here. But I think as long as you're using some sort of a hook that doesn't have like a thumb grip to it, even, you could get by with, because you just want all the stitches to be the same size, you know, as you're doing your passes. I want to get over here, Renee. I'm going to get all the way over to where I'm doing the other triangle, so that way they can see how they would work that one stitch that we left open. Okay, so I'm going as fast as I can. I know that we're coming up on the hour, but I want you guys to make sure you get that information. So if you can give me just a second here. And just a reminder, this is a free pattern available at Yarnspirations. So if you are looking for this pattern or other entrelac patterns, if you're like, you know what, I really like entrelac, or I like some of the things that Marley has shown, please check out the links that I've provided on my YouTube channel description. I've put links to Single Crochet Entrelac projects, the my book, if you're interested in the book, and I've linked to my knitting entrelac projects also, some of which actually have videos here on YouTube, and the free pattern on Yarnspirations, showing how to do them. Very, very step-by-step intimate, just like this. So you could work through it. So if you're like, Tunisian's cool and all, but I'm not really interested in it, I want to stick to, you know, crochet or knitting, it's the technique, the whole idea of, you know, decreasing stitches and stuff is the same. It's just you know, obviously you're using a different craft to do it. But blind faith, everybody, that's what you want to do, is blind faith. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we go. I'm down to the last triangle, y'all. See how fast that went? I mean, that's crazy. That only took me like 3 minutes to do that one. It did not take me 3 minutes the first time I ever did it. I will tell you, at all. It was not 3 minutes. Okay. And then slip stitch right here. Here we go. We want to pick up our 5 here. And you remember how we picked up our 5 and then we picked up 1 over here from this square, so that way they could join together? Well, down here, it doesn't have anything to join to, right? But we do have this last stitch down here that we can join into to really clean up that edge. So when you pick up your stitches along here, 3, 4, and here's 5. Okay, I'm going to pick up into that one, that yellow right there that we left open. I'm going to yarn over and pull up. And that's going to give me my 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now I can start to, you know, delete. I can start to do my decreases now, where each pass to create this wedge, right? This triangle. I will pick up one fewer bar, or pick up from the bar one less each time. So that was 7. Now I have 6 and decrease down. I just think it was really important. You saw how we used that last stitch that we left open. Because to me, the first time you see that, you're like, what? Why am I not using this? I must have messed up. You didn't mess up. It's so that we have it here on this triangle here to use. And again, just another reminder, we are working these stitches in a way that's done for entrelac, where we're always working these decreases down here. That's why we're starting each one with our yarn over, draw through 2. But if you were doing regular Tunisian, you would start off with a yarn over, draw through 1, and then yarn over, draw through 2. But because we are doing that decrease, that's why we have that. I just want to point that out so that way you don't make a mistake of going on and doing more Tunisian and then, you know, somehow making a mistake with that. There we go. Finish this last one. And voila, y'all. Look at that. Look at that. Like I said, if I could do it, you could do it too. As far as weaving in your ends, weave them in just like you would anything else. Trust me, I did ask Robin that. She was like, really, Marley? You want to know about your ends? She goes, you just weave them in like you do anything else. Just make sure you do it on the wrong side. I was like, hey, Robin, there are no such things as stupid questions. And so she was like, I know. But yeah, if you don't know, you just don't know. So yeah, just flip it over. You'll weave in your ends on the opposite side. If you went up your hook size, like I mentioned, you'll have a nice, like really nice fluid drapey fabric. It is naturally going to curl on you. That is the nature of Tunisian. You can block it when everything is said and done. You could add some crochet edging if you wanted to. I could see on the sample that they added tassels at the corners. You could add tassels on all the peaks points if you wanted to. There's lots of different things you could try, but not gonna lie, I'm very impressed with how this turned out, and it's so much fun. All right, I didn't go over too bad, which is great. I packed all that in. I hope you guys love entrelac, whether it's knitted entrelac, Tunisian entrelac, or crochet entrelac. It is a very fun technique. I hope you will give it a try, and I will see you guys again in a couple weeks. Bye, everybody.